this initially was built to be a sales related concept, but what I think we should do as a group here is create it's basically a wave calendar. So based on what month you're in, and then have all of the components kind of line up their calendars accordingly that go with it. So looking at it from a sales approach, there's traditionally three major spikes in catering over the course of the year. You have appreciation season, which is April and May. So it starts with admin appreciation, goes right through graduation. Then you have back to school, back to the office, which we're right in the middle of now. So those of you in this space, you're probably seeing your numbers really ramp up quickly during back to school season, and then the next beyond. Kind of levels off a little bit in September and October where it starts to lay flat, and then it crashes again as you get into the holiday season, and then really drops off quickly right somewhere around December 22nd, as the holiday parties are wrapping up, and then you'll start to see it really just go down, and it stays down until you get into maybe the second to third week of February. So it's understanding how those sales kind of rise, the crests and the troughs all during the year. The idea behind it is that, and I always tell folks, if you're, as a catering salesperson, if your schedule in January looks like your schedule in April, looks like your schedule in August, there's a problem, because you should not be doing the same activities day after day, week after week. And I think the same thing goes for our group here. January and February, when sales are low, is when we should be doing our planning, which is when we should be doing our list building, which is when we should be doing our research and getting the structure built. As it starts to rise, we start doing heavy selling. But when we're in peak, you shouldn't be selling to restaurants your services, because restaurants are busy doing other things. So if you understand where they're going to be most likely to want to hear you pitch your delivery service or your tech software, it'll start to help us as a group understand, when do we pitch to restaurants? When are they least likely to hear us? When should we be doing customer service calls? When should we be doing future prospecting? And so we built this sales wave, but I think it applies to all of the industry as a whole, because when sales are high for catering, they're going to be high across most brands across the country. There may be some little peaks and spikes and different things that happen. So you have this 9-step B2B sales process where you start off with identifying the customer profile, lead gen, all the way to closing and booking orders, and then you get into nurturing relationships, and then the cycle starts over, right? Just like a traditional sales cycle. If you can apply these concepts of where am I from 01 to 09 on the course of the year, you can start to plan your time. You can start to make sure you're staffing enough drivers, or that you have enough what you need to do to take care of the spikes that are coming up. What happens with salespeople a lot of times is they don't take advantage of the slow parts of the year to plan, to research, to build lists. And then all of a sudden you get 2 to 3 weeks out of the opportunity and you go into panic sales mode. And then what happens is you run out of time, or you run out of, you didn't get all your information together, so you're spending your time researching when you should be closing and talking to people. And so it's understanding how that kind of thing works here. The idea of using a numbered system to kind of help identify the calendar where you should be doing specific activities, I think can help all of us. This is also something, if you're looking to work with restaurants and you want to provide them with this really cool tool, we can definitely give it to you in a presentation form that you can then brand it, put your company information, say, hey, here's just a strategy that we suggest your restaurant employ when you're looking at building your sales program across the year. So as the idea is, when business is high, it should be talking and conversations and customer service. It is not selling. When it's low, you're not selling either, because there's nobody buying. So that's your planning and research. Just understanding how the calendar works. As you can kind of see where it starts to dip and rise and dip again, you can see where those 3 peak areas are, and then where your activity should kind of coalesce. So the idea behind it is, and I think it's something that if we know what the industry is doing on a month-to-month basis all during the year, and traditionally you would see where those dates are across the bottom. We would have early June, late June, early July, late July. So you can kind of understand what that scheduling looks like.